balalaika people, baritone singers, soprano vocalists. Welcome to session 4 of Get Over the Hump, a Songwriters Toolkit. Today we're going to talk about harmony. Last week we talked about building a major and minor scale, and this week we're going to get into how to build chords. And harmony is applied when you have two or more notes playing simultaneously. So if we're in the key of C and you have a C and then you play an E at the same time, you have harmony, you have a third. Also keep in mind that if you have just a melody by itself, that harmony is implied. If you just have a melody, you can play all kinds of chord changes under that melody. There will be some that are more obvious than others, and there will probably be a wrong and a right way. It just depends on how far you want to take it. But it is implied when there's just, one note happening at a time, like a melody note. So harmony is two or more notes. So we're going to talk about triads, and we're going to start with our favorite key, C, okay? And we have different, these are the different, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 again, okay? So off of each one of these notes, we can build a chord, okay? So the most important chord is the 1 chord, and that's the chord built off the first degree of the scale. So if we are in C, and the reason that we know a 1 chord is a 1 chord is from where it falls in the line of progression. Where does that C chord fall in comparison to the other chords surrounding it? Is everything leading up to that C? Is it 2, 5, 1? If it's D minor, G, C, it's 2, 5, 1 and you're in C, which we'll touch on later. But so the most important chord is the one built off the 1 chord, and it is a major triad, okay? And there's 2 intervals. Here's an interval. From 1 to 3 is an interval, and from 3 to 5 is an interval. 1 to 3 is a major interval, a major third interval, and 3 to 5 is a minor third interval. A major third interval is 4 half steps. There's C, okay? C, C sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps up to E. And from E to G is minor. E up to F is 1 half step, F sharp 2, 3, okay? 3 half steps, okay? So that is a major triad. Now a minor triad will be opposite. It'll be a minor third from the 1 to the 3rd, and then a major third interval from the 3 to the 5, and we'll get to that later. So the most important chord is your 5 chord, okay? The second most important chord, is your 1 chord is the most important. The second most important chord is your 5 chord. So here's the 5th degree of the scale. We're in the key of C, right? 5th degree of the scale is G, C, D, E, F, G. And then we're going to build a stack of thirds off the 5th. So major third to B, 4 half steps, count them. Here's G to A to G sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. From B to D, it's 3 half steps. So here is 4 half steps, and here's 3 half steps, and this is a G chord, and that's the 5 chord. What really makes it the 5 is you put the 7 on top, which is a flat 7 because we're in the key of C, and that I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But so that 5 chord is the second most important chord because 5 leads us back to 1. Everything is about the 1. It's all about the 1 chord. You can hide it, you can disguise it harmonically if you want, but it's all about the 1 chord. So 5 leads to the 1, and when you do and then in front of the 5 chord, let's go back to our C major scale. Okay. Here's our 1 chord. Okay, here's our 5 chord again. Okay, you can always, a rule of thumb is you can be ahead of before the 5. So you have a chord progression going like this. You've got, you have a C major chord, okay, and then you have, let me see, you have a 5 chord here in this bar, okay, so bar 1. You can always stick a 2 chord or the 4 chord. D minor is right here, built off the 2nd degree of the scale, okay, it's a D minor chord, and F is a major chord. And again, it's because there's, with the major chord, 4 half steps between the first and 3 half steps, and the minor, D minor, is between this D and this F here is 3 half steps, and then 4 half steps between the F and the A. But as a rule of thumb, you can always stick a 2 in front of a 5. So the 2 chord is, or the 4 chord, depending on style. Rock and roll is 4, 2 is a 2 chord, is more jazzy, slightly different flavor. That's a 3rd most important chord, because 2 or 4 always wants to go to 5 most of the time, 99% of the time, and 5 wants to go to 1. So those are your 3 main chords that we'll be dealing with, is the 2, 5, or the 4, 5 to the 1. Okay? So the other chords, and they're built off the different degrees of the scale, okay? We could go to the key of A flat and build a chord off the 1, find out what, you know, the 5 and the 2. Now you ask, what do we do with the 3rd? What about the chord built off the 3rd degree of the scale, the 6th degree of the scale, and the 7th degree of the scale? Okay? So the chord built off the 3rd, in this case, would be an E minor chord. Okay? Starts on E, and it's a minor chord. Now it's diatonic, so we're restricted to using only the notes in the C major scale, which are all the white notes. All the white notes. So E minor is built off the 3rd degree, and A minor is built off the 6th degree of the scale, and off the 7th degree of the scale, it's the only chord that's a combination. Oh, there's the egg timer. There it is. The 7th chord, built off the 7, is the only one that's both these intervals are minor thirds, and it's a diminished chord. Diminished chords are kind of ambiguous. They're mainly used for passing chords and that sort of thing. You know, they're like, you've all heard this. You know, that kind of stuff. It doesn't really define tonality, not like this is. Here's 5-1. There's 1. 5, right there. And 2-5-1. Okay? What we're going to get in later, though, is a lot of times the 3 chord and the 6 chord are used to substitute the 1 chord. So instead of going, you could substitute it and go E minor. See, you've heard that before in a color where you're writing a song and everybody, you know, you hear it going to here, but you want to trick your listener a little bit, so you go E minor or A minor, you know, instead of. So those are, they're what I call plural substitutes, and we're going to get into that in a couple lessons. Anyway, we'll continue with this a little longer. You know, check out the new book, Get Over the Hump, a Songwriter's Toolkit melody and harmony, non-fat. I just made it as concise as I can, trying to get to the point as quickly as I could in the book, giving you lots of techniques for improving your writing and that sort of thing. So we're going to continue in the next lesson. We'll continue on this same track a little bit, and until then, thanks for stopping by. Talk to you later.